When life becomes a rolling list of to-dos and tasks and meetings and appointments and errands and work and everything else that's on your plate, it's really tough to see what it is that actually needs to change to make things better and to make your life run more smoothly. So today we're going to get off the roller coaster for a little bit. We're going to sit down and actually look at what is actually working for you and what is not. So by auditing your habits, we're going to be able to see the bigger picture and start making changes that you can use to improve your life. But we need to see where you are starting from in order to do that. So we're going to get started and let's dive in. Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renae Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast. Now, we're going to go over this audit guide, and I actually created a free guide for you so that you can print it off. So before we get started, I do want to tell you how you can get that in case you want to go grab that and print it off before we go through. So if you want that, just go to audityourhabits.com. So that's A.U.D.I.T. So audityourhabits.com. There is a free guide. You just plug it in, download it, and print it off, and then we can get started. If you do not have the free guide, then just grab a pen and paper and I will walk you through everything right here. It's just pretty to have the guide if you want it. And then you can kind of go through it a little bit easier throughout the week. Like maybe this is your morning routine to sit down and focus on one section at a time. So there are 5 sections in this audit, and each one correlates with the acronym audit. So the audit is A.U.D.I.T. That is the acronym. So the first one is the A, and we're going to start with that one. So like I said, grab a pen and paper. Because I'm going through so many questions, you actually may want to pause this. So make sure you know where the pause button is and pause it, and then write and come back to it and start it again and go to the next question and pause it and come back to it. So if this episode takes you several times to get through all of the questions, that is totally fine. Just come back to it as you need to. And it's really good to sit down and be doing this because we're coming to a close in 2023. So you are doing this nice and fresh, so you have a good idea of what to do moving forward into 2024. However, you can do this at any point. So if you're not listening to this, real time and you're listening to this later, you can do this at any point in the year. And actually it would be good to go through and do kind of a refresher every once in a while to really audit what you're doing at that moment, so that you can see if there's any other changes that you need to make, because we're always looking to improve, we're always looking to learn, and this is just a really good way of doing it. So the whole point of the audit is to make sure that you are getting a really good overview of what you are currently doing, so that you can then take a step back and have this full big picture of what you've been doing, what's working, what's not, and then at that point you can decide what you want to change and what you want to keep. And this is going to walk you through how to do that. And when I'm asking questions, just remember that when I ask you something about, a typical day, I understand that not every day is probably a typical day or looks the same, and that is totally fine. So just do kind of what your instinct is when I ask the question of what you think of or what happens most often. So you probably have something that happens more often than other things, and just kind of roll with that. You can always change it later. It's your audit. You can fill it out however you want, but I will ask questions and just go with your instinct and just start writing. So your first one is the A in audit. It's assess what you do in the mornings. So your questions are, how are you currently waking up? And you want to write that down. You want to get really specific. Do you use an alarm clock? Are you snoozing it when you're waking up? How many times are you hitting the snooze button usually? Are you lying in bed for 20 minutes while you scroll on your phone before you do anything else? What are you doing when you're waking up? Or maybe on the flip side, you are doing things that you really enjoy. You're opening the curtains and seeing the sunshine come in. You're saying a prayer. You're drinking a big glass of water. What are all of those steps? And then I want you to think about your typical morning, the kind that happens most often. And after you wake up and you get through that process, what are you doing next? So write down your typical morning routine from the time you wake up until you're starting your day. What is that whole process? And also, how long is it taking you? And next, we're going to go into the U, which is uncover your meal planning habits. So this one, we're going to start with how many nights per week do you generally feel some sort of stress, anxiety, or just fatigue while you're trying to decide what to make for dinner? And how many nights are you cooking at home each week? How many nights are you eating out? How many times do you stop at the store each week? How long is dinner taking you from start to finish? How long does it take to clean up from dinner? How often do you leave the dishes to wash later? What time of day do you like to have dinner made and ready to go? And then what are your overall feelings about dinner time? Does it make you happy, frustrated, creative, annoyed? Write how you're currently feeling about it, and then write how you wish you'd feel about it. And then I want you to write some changes that you would like to see. Maybe an example would be an earlier dinner time. Maybe it's having the dishes washed before you sit down to eat. Maybe it is prepping all the veggies in one day for the whole week, or prepping meals and putting them in the freezer so that you can have crock pot meals later. Whatever it is, what are some of the changes that you would like to see that are different than what you are doing currently? And then for the D, we're going to go into discover your home priorities. So this is, you want to think about your house when it is tidy and presentable and you're not worried about anybody stopping by unexpectedly. How many of the days of the week do you feel good about the state of your home? And then I want you to write down what drives you crazy when it's not clean or done the way that you want it. What is it that's driving you crazy? And then what makes you feel good when it is clean? And then I want to ask you, where are you currently keeping your cleaning products? Write down all the places you're keeping your cleaning products. And then on average, how long does it take you to clean your house? And then how many mornings each week are you waking up to a mess? And then overall, again, think about your home. Think about when it feels messy or dirty. What is it that needs to be cleaned? And then think about when it's clean, what is it that makes you feel a sense of calm? And what is it that you're appreciating that is clean or tidy? And then we're going to go into the I, which is identify your exercise needs. So this one, I'm going to ask you, how many days a week are you getting outside for fresh air or a walk? How many days per week do you make time to stretch? How many days per week do you go to the gym or work out? What type of exercise do you enjoy the most? What type of activity makes you feel your best when you're moving your body? What time of day do you prefer to work out or get movement in? What struggle is keeping you from your dream movement routine? So now I want you to imagine if you had time to spend doing whatever activity or exercise that you wanted. Imagine you had whatever schedule you wanted. Write down a health and exercise routine that you would love to have if you had your dream schedule and dream movement routine. And then write down why that would be important to you. And the last one is the T, which is test your money mindset. So I want you to ask yourself, if a $500 or $1,000 emergency comes up, do you have enough money set aside to pay for it without using a credit card and without stressing you out and not being able to pay the rest of your bills? And then I want you to ask yourself, how often are you checking your bank account balance? Do you think that is enough? Do you think it's too much? Do you think it's a good amount? How often are you checking it? And then how often does a transaction hit your account that you had forgotten about? How often do you make sure that your balance is accurate? And how often are you concerned about whether or not you will have enough money to cover your expenses for that month or that week or that paycheck? And then if you have any debt, do you know exactly how much you have? And then I want you to think about money and what is your biggest struggle when it comes to money. And then I want you to ask yourself, how does money make you feel? Are you indifferent to it? Are you stressed? Does it make you excited about the future? How does it make you feel when you think about money? And then the last question is to think about how you feel, and now how do you wish that you felt about money? So going through all of these questions, like I said, if you need to pause it and just do one section at a time, I kind of rolled through those really quickly, and you can get the free guide if you want to sit down and look this over. It might make a little bit sense when you can see it visually rather than me talking to you about it. It's a little bit weird sometimes when I'm asking you questions that are just consistently being asked. So definitely pause it because those come at you really fast. But this is a good way to sit down once you get through all of these questions. And like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. Just write down what you're currently doing, what you're currently feeling. And once you get through all of them, then I want you to go back and review your answers in each of the areas and to see what you like, what you don't like. Maybe highlight the ones that you really like, those habits. Those really you really like what you're doing in those different areas. Maybe it's highlighting it a different color on the things that you don't like so much or you think that you'd like to change. This is just the first step in really realizing what it is you're doing now. So this is the audit your habits, and in the workbook, my Your Organized Life Blueprint, this part is actually in there. So the free guide is just the standalone free guide for Audit Your Habits. But if you go into the Your Organized Life Blueprint, the very first week is actually this Audit Your Habits guide. And then the second week walks you through establishing your priorities in each of these 5 areas. And then the following 5 weeks takes one area each week and helps you create a go-to simple routine for that area. So then you can create it and implement it for your life. So that will help you if you want to keep expanding on this and really getting organized and having that go-to and helping you make the changes that this can get you started with. Or you can just look at your answers, review it, and start tweaking things on your own. But hopefully walking through these will really help you get that big picture overview and be able to see what you're enjoying and what you want to change. So another really cool thing that you could do is to look at each area, so each of those 5 areas, and commit to one thing you're going to stop doing that you are wanting to stop doing, and then commit to something that you're going to start doing to get you closer to how you want to be in each of those areas. So that's just an idea. You can take it or leave it, but this is something that I wanted to bring to you so that if you have not had a chance to get the downloadable guide, that I can just walk you through it here. So hopefully that was fun and you learned something about yourself, and it's a good way to also practice journaling if you're just getting started with journaling, because I'm telling you what to write. So that is all I have for today. I will see you on the next episode. Did you love that episode or learn something useful? If so, would you do me a huge favor? My goal is to grow this podcast and help as many women as I can break free from the overwhelm so they can truly enjoy their life. The best way for me to do this is for you to leave a 5-star written review on your podcast app and to share this episode with a friend or in your Instagram stories. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.